Gentlemen's, ladies, everybody in the chat. Um, episode 77 is here. Damage per second podcast, DPS for short. Super excited to be here with you guys. Had to take an extra day of a hiatus, life got in the way as usual. But we're here and definitely looking forward to all the topics we got today. If you didn't know, this show will be available on all your podcast services over the weekend. So, if you ain't catch the live show, check out the replays, in the audio version. Or just come back here and listen to us talk about all types of crazy stuff while we got gameplay up that probably has nothing to do with the topic at hand. But with that being said,
only when Forte posts. Does the gameplay have nothing to do with the topic? That's just
when we got filler. Well, we're not going to have any gameplay for the Nintendo topic because Nintendo.
Who plays Nintendo?
Nintendo. But for the most part, happy to be here. But let's get into it. Homeboy, SlomoBackSlap, the man, the myth, the legend, the man with almost 5,000 views on his Elden Ring review and didn't even think he would get half of that. Slomo, how you been? What's been going on with you?
Well, it's been a trying couple days, but hey, look, man, it's I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be among the DPS family out here, just talking about games and talking about what's going on in the gaming industry, and just keep for a couple hours keep my mind off of the other stuff. So, like I said, glad to be here. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Always glad to be here, man. And I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday, sometimes when you got stuff set up, and then when we don't go through it that day, you kind of feel relieved because you don't realize how tired you really was.
Right.
I woke, like when we moved it, I was like, oh man, I guess I'll go to sleep. And going to sleep was like at 10:30, and the show would have still been going if it wasn't for the fact that we moved it to today. But yeah, man, definitely. But with that being said, shout out some people that's in the chat. We got Mitchie Dies Alive saying say hello everyone. Hope your day was good, and I am sorry about the loss of your friend Slomo. Yeah, that Slomo. I know Slomo must have talked to some people. Slomo talked to some people. I let him be the one. But yeah, that's the reason we had to move yesterday. Nobody's trying to deal with stuff like that when they find out about loved ones and friends on that day. I'm not going to pronounce it because I'm going to say it wrong. Go ahead, Slomo. Say
Roselle double O.
Roselle double O. Okay. I'm going to put that in the memory bank and actually remember.
You've said this for the past 3 weeks.
Okay, I did. Okay, whatever. Ham Solo.
So
shout out to you with the 3 hellos. Always appreciate you, brother. Hustle and motivate. Yo, first of all,
hustle.
First of all, guys, if you haven't checked out, the Addict Show, which airs weekly on the Iron Lords podcast with Lord Addict and Hustle and Motivate, you guys should check it out. One of the most informational podcasts that's out there. Have a lot of really good conversations, and I usually don't say that much about a lot of different shows because most of the other shows don't do it as well, but I really appreciate their insight and the stuff they talk about. So make sure you check those guys out whenever they're live. We do see SlomoBackSlap. Maybe that's a doppelganger or something. I mean, is this like, is this like an April Fool's Day? You got an extra person in the chat with Slomo's name on it? Who knows?
And that you gave mod access?
Oh yeah, that's true. Dang, I didn't even think about that. Then we got we got Kryptonite up in the chat, and yeah, but we appreciate all you guys. Shout out to you. We missed you guys over the last week. So Slomo. Let's get into the first topic. Get all the pleasantries out the way. Talk about the PlayStation Plus announcement, the 3 new tiers, technically 4, but that only applies if you're in an area where, certain things aren't available.
Pause. Look at the topic.
What? Where? What topic?
The topic that you typed.
Yes.
Do you see anything wrong there?
Which one? In the about the
okay, chat.
Title. Wait, are you talking about wait, are you talking about the title of the video or the actual
I'm talking about the topic, the actual topic. Chat. do you guys catch the issue? The misspelling of the word equal.
Oh yeah. I see that.
Oh
Whatever.
my god.
Whatever.
It's like once a week. Anyway,
Well,
let's
you
just
got
get
to
into
catch one. Okay. Well, I was typing it
it.
last night before I went to sleep, and I was sleepy. So you know what? Just for you,
And you can't spell equal. Okay, understood. Understood.
I can.
Hey, look, let's get into so
You know
the
what?
PlayStation Plus
You
tiers.
do talk about the PlayStation Plus tiers, and we'll get into the second half of it as I fix the blunder that I put
Oh
into
my god.
this.
Okay, so we finally got the details to Project Spartacus, which has been rumored ever since I think it was first revealed by Jeff Grubb and Jason Schreier, I think late last year. And so for a long time it had been rumored about what this would be, and people were speculating that it was going to be a competitor or rival to Game Pass, and people were speculating whether Sony would do their first party games day and date, whether they do like a timed release later on into the service, yada yada yada. Clearly, what we have been told, and it turned out to be true though, is that PlayStation Now, which was the streaming service, and streaming, not all 100% streaming anymore, but the service that seemed to be somewhat of a competitor to Game Pass prior to the reveal this week, was going to be phased out, which made sense considering PlayStation Now as a product just represented nothing good. Like the name was sullied, and for good reason. When it was first revealed, it was not a good service and overpriced. Like it's was, I think it was like $20 a month for some almost no PlayStation 4 games, a lot of PlayStation 3 games, but they were all streaming. And those games were the performance of those games and the latency of the stream the stream games were very very poor, and it just was not worth the price and the performance either. And so, although they've made improvements, I think partially due to the existence of Game Pass. Once Game Pass became a thing, we started to see the price of PS Now go down. We started to see that they started to bring in games that you could download, primarily PlayStation 4 games, because the PlayStation 3 games still can't be due to cell architecture, x64 architecture, that all that stuff with the PS3 games. Anyway, we got the reveal this week, and I would say universally, most people are disappointed. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know why, but they are.
Okay, all right, we'll get into that. Well, let's talk about what these tiers are, because there's three tiers. And essentially, what you have here is there is the PlayStation Plus Essential tier, which is strictly just PlayStation Plus. Everything that you have with PlayStation Plus is there. Is in this the same price. It's $9 a month, $60 annually for in dollars in the United States. What that translates to in different countries, you probably already know. Um, and you get your 2 games a month. You get your ability to get cloud saves. You get the access to paid online games, and there you have it. That's pretty much what PlayStation Plus is now. So that hasn't changed at all. Uh, there is PlayStation Plus Extra, which is $15 a month, $100 a year. And could you put the graphic back up for the tiers?
Oh,
For
I was going to put the one up that had the actual descriptions because I didn't have
oh
it.
oh oh go ahead, do your thing. Oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
you're good.
Extra gives I think it gives you access to like 400 additional games.
Yep, 400
Um
PS4 and mixture of PS4, PS5.
okay, yeah. So extra I think might probably end up being the best option, I guess, for people. That depends on you, right? If you just only have PS
There you
Plus,
go, Slomo.
then you probably are, thanks. You're probably just good to continue what you're doing. Like other people who are subscribed to these services, you probably have received the email from Sony by now explaining how what the new changes are and how they affect you and what you're subscribed to. But I think probably the biggest thing that people seem to have an issue with is the PlayStation Plus Premium, which is what is that? $20
Play,
a month?
yeah, PlayStation Plus Premium includes everything
Oh,
from
$18 a month.
yeah,
$18 a month, $120 a year. PlayStation Plus Premium is just PS Now, which is $60 annually, and PS Plus, which is $60 annually combined. And that's it. And I think the big disappointment to kind of get into it, well, I think the big disappointment that people have, and the Forte can kind of talk about, what his thoughts are, is that they didn't add anything extra to this. I don't understand why it took them so long to even come out with this. Like, were they, I don't know if they were internally grappling or debating whether to add the new things to this, that whether to go add maybe like, hey, you'll get first party games in here a year after launch or whatever. Like, what were they actually trying to figure out? Because the end result of this, like, they could have made this decision in a week and then rolled this out, because it's literally everything that they were already offering, just split up in certain tiers. And if you got essential, that's just PS Plus. If you got premium, that's PS Plus and PS Now, and that's it. Like, the only thing that seems that may have been some kind of debate would have been what to put into extra, I guess.
yeah.
But Forte, what do you think, man, about this? What were your
So
thoughts on it?
if I remember correctly, they added PS1 and they did add PSP
Yes.
to it. They
Yeah.
did
Okay.
add
So
those.
because they had those games. Okay.
They
Cool.
added
Cool.
those games and they made PS1, PS2, and PSP games downloadable. Whereas before, PS2 games and PS3 games were streamed only.
Well,
PS
PS3 games are still
Yeah,
streamed.
PS3 games are still streamed, but so basically PS3 is the only one you have to stream if you want to play those games. The other ones have a download or a stream option.
Mhm.
They also did add they also did add demos to the premium tier,
Right.
which
So
is like,
can we discuss that a little?
we're definitely going to discuss why demos should not be part of a paid subscription service, and they should be something that you natively get by just owning the platform. Because guess what, Slow-Mo? When you buy a PS5, what do? They give you a collection of what, Slow-Mo?
Games.
They give you a collection of
What?
games. They don't
Uh,
give you demos. They give you a collection of
yeah.
games. So why is it so hard if they're willing to give you full-fledged games with just purchasing a PS5? Why
Right.
can't they just give you access to, like, oh, if you're just on PlayStation Plus or just a PlayStation 5 owner, give you access to a 2-hour demo or
Okay.
maybe a
No,
3-hour demo of games?
okay, I'm gonna try to give them the benefit of the doubt
Go
here,
ahead,
and
please go
here,
ahead.
this is what I'm gonna try, because like I agree with you, free demos should be free, like demo,
Free
like
demo.
it's a freaking demo, like
Right.
you shouldn't have that behind a paywall. That's silly. But if this doesn't change, for example, Tales of Arise had a free demo, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, but that was a free demo everywhere. Like everyone had that demo. Well, not PC, but like
Mm-hmm.
Xbox had it, whatever. Uh, or here's another. Okay, that's not the best example because everyone had that demo, so of course that would be free. Um, there was a demo of Babylon's Fall, and there was a demo of Strangers of in Paradise of Paradise. I think that demo may have been exclusive. No, here's another one. Which third party game always has their demos exclusive on PlayStation? I can't. Is it Capcom? Is it Resident Evil? No, it's not Resident Evil. I
No.
can't remember what it is, but there's a third party developer that always has free demos on PlayStation. I think if it's the third party demos that don't change and they stay free, cool. But if
Right.
it's like a first party, for example, if they come out with Factions 2 this year, and that free demo, the demo for Factions 2 is behind the paywall, then okay. Like I can see that being kind of an incentive although I very loosely, because that really kind of doesn't even help them out, because usually when you do demos for like a multiplayer game, the benefit to the developer and publisher is that they get people to try the game and they get to test the game and fix bugs before launch.
Right.
Because having more eyes and playing the game is, I mean, at that point we all become QA testers.
That's true.
So the more people you have playing the game, the better. You put it behind the paywall, that's going to be less people playing the game by default. So even then, like, I still, I try to find a way to make it make sense.
It doesn't.
It don't. It doesn't make sense. Like it just seems like they're kind of struggling to find something to put into
Find some value, yeah.
and really, like, I kind of think they should have just gone ahead and said, like, hey, look, our first party games, year after launch, they're going into the service.
Facts. At least.
And so,
yeah.
And so, like it's there. It provides value to the service. And if you're the kind of gamer that's like, man, I don't wait for my games. I'm not waiting. I'm not gonna have stuff spoiled. I'm not gonna, like watch other people play this game. And like Alec, I'm not gonna spend my money. You're good. It doesn't change anything for you. Day one, you're gonna buy the game at $70 day one, and you're gonna enjoy it. But there are others who may be on the fence with it, or maybe they wouldn't try it. Hey, look, a year after launch, that game is never going to recover the sales clip that it was doing back when it first launched. So at that point, that could give the game a second life to the people who weren't too enthused with it initially, but it's in the service and they're subscribed to it, and so they'll be like, "Hey, I'll try out Returnal now that it's in the service," and then maybe they'll end up liking it. So I think that would have been a better idea to have as part of the premium package.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree. It just comes back to just looking at the tier. So the reason I was talking about earlier, I struggle with people's opinion on this, and not yours in general. I think yours is pretty much in line with mine. And not just because people's not in line with me, don't mean I don't respect your opinion. It's just that it's crazy hearing people's opinion on this, whereas they were upset at the offerings that were given. I do think Sony kind of got a raw deal on this whole conversation when it comes to just talking about the PlayStation subscription service, the PlayStation Plus revamp, because they officially themselves had never came out and given any details on what this service was. They're not even the ones that gave it. They're not even the ones that came out and talked about the code name for it. This was all leaked information.
Exactly.
That was all brought up by different, media outlets or people that were, supposedly PlayStation insiders that were talking about this. And it kind of put Sony in a position whereas if this wasn't what people hoping it was, they would be upset and disappointed in what Sony was doing. Right. I literally just took this at, like, the moment I saw the leaks, I was like, oh, that would be cool if they did this and they did that. But I just think, and we've been saying it on this show, we've been saying it on BRAP and everywhere else, that this is just going to be a revamp and basically a consolidation of their services. They're just going to take
think
what
that
they
the
have.
leaks did Sony a disservice because they created an unjust hype for something that they didn't.
That wasn't going to be there.
Right, because like they never officially came out and said, "Hey, look, we got something cooking. It's going to compete against Game Pass. Watch out, Game Pass." They didn't say any of that.
Well, no. Now Jim Ryan did come out and say that when he was in an interview talking about Game Pass, he was talking about that Game Pass is something that is on their mind, and they said they do have something cooking up to basically
is that this?
They said they're yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's not this, and people are taking that conversation as is what this is.
Yeah, like they could have something else in store,
right?
And this was always something that was separate, a revamp and a way to deal with PS Now, because like really, that's what. Look, you've got services that are being unused. You've got cloud services that are barely being used. You and because it's connected to PS Now. You've got like infrastructure stuff that you've put money towards, invested in, and put in place that over all the years that you've been doing it has not even cracked 5 million subscribers to it ever. And so like you have all of that here. What are you going to do with it? If it's the name that like, because look, there are people, right? There are people who didn't know about the changes that PS Now had.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't know the price got cut in half. People
Right.
didn't know the majority of the games you can download. People didn't know it was like 800 games in it. People didn't know a lot of stuff about it. And why would that? Because the brand of PS Now was synonymous with trash screaming cloud games.
Right.
And so people just they completely ignored it and never gave it a second thought from then forward. And so it didn't matter what they changed. It's PS Now. I don't care. And so at that point now you have to rebrand it. Because like I said, like we said, this really isn't much different than what they were already offering here.
Right.
But now it's a part of PS Plus, which had 50 million subscribers before this change.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're actually putting these services that you invested money into to use, because there are going to be people out here who maybe allowed them on the essential tier who may decide, oh man, just for X amount of dollars more, I might just bump up to that. So like I get that, but that could have been completely separate than doing like we're going to have a competitor to
Right.
Game Pass.
The Game Pass.
Like, and so like they at no point said that this revamp of PS Now was going to be that. So look, all I'm saying is that like it ain't much the ride home about. This is for, and I know there were a lot of people who were excited for this and excited to see what it was going to be, and they got a little disappointed. The fact that it wasn't more, that it wasn't really like, and I don't think a lot of people thought day and date, because they've been talking the talk of we're not doing that. We don't feel the need to do that, and they reiterated that in comments Jim Ryan made this week. But like people thought that there would have been some kind of like movement towards, first party games a year after launch, they're going there.
Right.
Or we're gonna make sure like we everything that's PS4 or everything that is first party that's old is available in there, because there's a lot of like stuff like from Insomniac, like the Resistance games aren't available. Like there's games that they have that are own first party games that are just not available in the service, which comparing it to Game Pass, literally everything that is a first party game or IP that they own, almost damn near everything is in Game Pass. I think maybe only like some original Xbox games that they own IP aren't in there, but like all the Bethesda stuff is in there now. All of the Exiles games are in there, Double Fine's games. Like if they acquired the developer, they put as much as they could put in there. I don't think all of Obsidian's games are in there because they've worked with so many different publishers over the years.
Yeah.
But like you can see the concerted effort to get that done, and that isn't really reflected on what Sony is doing. But I think that probably would have been a little bit more of an incentive. At least put that into like extra, like PS Plus extra. Like every first party game from like PS4 generation on back is all, it's all in there. You're gonna get those games and feature that, talk about that, like, oh hey look, we got all the Sly Cooper games, we got all of the those Resistance games, we got everything in there now. That would have been I think that would have been cool for some people who are older gamers and care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I mean, the thing
Yeah, super chat, by the way.
Yeah, I see it. I do agree. I do think it just comes down to your overall ability to just comprehend that there's a difference between leaks and rumors and the actual company coming out and stating what the actual thing is. But yeah, shout out to the homie Gaming with Persona. Shout out to the DPS crew with the $10 holler. We really appreciate you, bro. Make sure you check those guys out too. They do What's Up PlayStation
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, check them out. I believe it's 11 a.m. is what time they go live. I'm always at work and I just turn it on and I see them. I think it's 11 a.m. EST when they go live. But check those guys out because they do a lot of cool things on their channel. Plus, they get really, really big PlayStation people on their channel too. So definitely check them out if you want to know everything PlayStation. And check out their individual channels with Persona and Bari running very successful channels over there too. So appreciate you as always, bro. But I think it just comes back to like that in general. But like I said, the service in general, I don't hate. I like it. I have PlayStation Now. I have PlayStation Plus. So I'm gonna be grandfathered into this premium tier. And you know what the real cool...
Oh, you too?
Oh yeah, I'm already gonna be in the premium tier because I have both.
Yeah, I have both, and honestly, and now I'm starting to kind of look at it like, because like I've been paying for both. Like, and every time PS Now, I get an email, hey, we've renewed your PS Now. I'm like, oh yeah.
You forgetting that you had it.
I still had that because I don't use it, even though it's like I made when I first got it, I used it for like maybe like 3 or 4 months. I played a lot of games through it. That's why I realized that a lot of the games that I thought were pretty cool to see in Game Pass were also in PS Now. I was like, oh man, they got that too. Oh, they got that too. So like I played a lot. I played the
Didn't you get it when it was on sale too? You got it with like half off or some crap like that.
Yeah. I got what was half before they dropped the price to exactly what I had paid.
Yep, I remember.
There's Gravity Rush. Like the first time I ever played Gravity Rush was through PS Now, and I was like, yo, this is a really cool game. I wish they would have continued it.
Yeah.
So like it's the same way I like Game Pass. I like PS Now. Except I think Game Pass was getting more day and date third-party games in,
right.
which kind of had me jumping back in to kind of check some things out every now and then a little bit more. But like I'm starting to kind of look at it like, when's the last time I played a PS Now game? A game through PS Now. So I don't know, like,
been a minute.
I mean, look, the funny thing is that they just renewed my PS Now a month ago. So here I'm doing the same thing I did the past 2 years. Well, they already renewed it, so I guess I got it for another year.
Well, I guess they got a year to prove to you to see if you want to keep it for another year.
And that's always the mindset. That's always the thought I tell myself until the next year comes up and I forgot that I was still subject.
That's how
which is exactly what they want, which is exactly how all these companies want us to think. They don't want you to think about how much you're paying. They don't want you to think about that you're still subscribed to something that you don't use. Because as far as they're concerned, they didn't do anything to get you to pay money.
Right. Do you know?
And as long, I mean, but see, this is why I also think that Sony won't do day and date with their first party games, because they feel like what people will do is they will upgrade their sub from PS Plus Essential to PS Plus Premium or whatever to whatever tier gets games first party day and date to play that game. And let's say it's Horizon Forbidden West and they beat it in a month, and then they downgrade their subscription back to Essential. You see what I mean? Then now it's like we didn't capture really the revenue that we wanted from that, because people basically just subbed for, because let's make that comparison to Game Pass, because that's not what Microsoft wants with Game Pass. What Microsoft wants is that, in like, take this year for instance, where they have released nothing first party in Game Pass yet, but there are people who are still subscribed. People still paying $10 to $15 a month. That's what they want. Now, if they get that money off of you on an annual basis, Game Pass pays for itself. The funding of everything they're trying to do pays for itself. But if people are like, I'm not subscribed, and I'm not going to subscribe until there's something that I want to play. And so Starfield's coming out in November. There are people who are like, I'll resubscribe when Starfield comes out. And then after they play Starfield for like a month or two, they unsub again.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what they want. That's why you gotta have consistent content. That's why you gotta have a big like third party game launching in the service on like a quarterly basis. Because then before people decide why am I subscribed to this? There's always
Right.
something else coming out that might catch their interest and keep them in. And then once they've played through that, man, that was great. All right, well, what's next? Oh, there's something else coming up. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what's that? See, that's like it's like the whole carrot on the stick thing to keep you going. But if they're not really providing anything, people start to wonder, and then they look at their bank statements and they're like, "What is this? What is that? $10 a month game? Oh yeah, I'm still subscribed to Game Pass. I haven't used that in like 6 months.
Crazy.
Let me just go ahead and cancel that because I'm not using that."
Yeah.
See, like you got to keep people engaged, and so if they know they can't do that, they can't. They're not trying to release games in that cadence. They're not trying to push their developers to make sure they release games in that cadence, and they ain't trying to spend the kind of money that you need to spend to get third-party developers to put their games in there day and date. Then no, you're not even going. You're not even going to jump in that pool. You're not going to do it. So
No, I agree. Like I said, it just ultimately just comes down to that. A couple people in the chat had a lot of stuff basically to say about it. Dark Princess talked about the PS1 and PSP games. I think that's actually a really, really cool thing, especially if you're a person that haven't played those games in a super long time, or I hear people always talking about PSP being one of their favorite handhelds and not being able to have some type of library of those games to play. That's going to be a really, really cool thing for people at that tier to actually try out. We also have shout out to Blade X, and we up in here. We got Via Vex up
a
in
Blade
here.
X.
Said if demos were free, then why would I buy the game? If Ratchet Ripped Apart had a demo, it was like 5 hours long. In the demo, I could just speed through it and save myself the $60 to
Wait,
$70.
where are we getting 5 hours from?
Well, he
I've
say
never.
no. They just put the number on the fact of how long would the demo be.
Yeah, but I mean, look, a 5 hour demo. I mean, is that the full game?
Well,
So
the
like,
game you can speed run the game that long, but I mean
but,
that's the
but,
thing.
but
I don't think it's
most
going to be
demos
anything
aren't
like
a
that.
full game. Like most
Well,
demos are not a full
I
game.
think people
Like,
are thinking like how EA does there, because EA gives you the whole freaking game for the most part. I think
but
single
they
player
only get,
games
but they
they
cap
don't.
it at 10 hours,
They cap it at
and you
10.
can't beat the game in 10 hours. For
Yeah,
example, uh, kind of like not that great a game, but Mass Effect Andromeda. You had 10 hours with that game. You couldn't beat
you'll still
Mass
be
Effect
in. You'll
Andromeda.
be just living the
And
Citadel
matter
after
of
ten
fact, like it,
hours.
I think it ended. I think it ended
30.
after the first mission or something like that. So like, yeah, like even then they
They
didn't
let you
give you
go
the
up to the
full game.
Citadel. That's it. All through the
Yeah,
Citadel.
Anthem, they didn't give you the full game there. Tales of Arise, I brought that demo up earlier. Tales of Arise, they gave you like a bunch of levels. You were like at level 30 or something, a level 40. They put you in an area that wasn't even like the beginning of the game, and they gave you a mission. I don't even think that mission was in the full release of the game. And so,
Yeah.
but you were allowed to, for as long as you wanted, to just roam around the open world. Not necessarily open world, but like that little section of the world and fight the enemies that were there. And you could go camp and then they would respawn. And it allowed you to get used to the combat and how the game would be. But that wasn't a full game at all. The full
Yeah.
game was like 60 hours to beat. So yeah, it's yeah, though that's a demo. Demos are rarely ever the full. I can't think of a single demo that was the full game.
Yeah. So Razier was like, I think Sony could go day and day if they changed the price to quarterly. I mean, the thing is, Sony could go day and date if they want to, but I just don't think Sony is set up. The thing is, we want a company to follow the footsteps that's a billion-dollar company to a trillion-dollar company. It's like the two things don't add up. I mean, I understand the allure of PlayStation mimicking what Xbox does, and we get these amazing experiences like God of War and Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man and stuff. We get that stuff day and day. Horizon Forbidden West, but Sony's just isn't set up financially in a place to do that, especially when their games are already selling in the tens to 20 million. As much as we love what Xbox is doing with Game Pass, would Xbox be doing this if their games were selling 10, 20 million a copy?
Likely no.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably. Although, I
I
mean,
think
look,
they would still have some type of
his
service. I think they would be
yeah.
more willing to have their games in a service like that. It probably
No,
wouldn't be day
I
and date.
think if their games were selling great, they would still have Game Pass, but I don't think their games would be day and date in Game
Exactly.
Pass. The reason why I said they would still have Game Pass, they would still have some kind of subscription service, is because they have other markets that they're in. For example, Microsoft Office,
Mm-hmm.
where they don't have any competition
None. And they
whatsoever.
have a service there.
And yet they not only do they have a service there, you gotta damn near do everything possible to not be in Office 365 and to just get a actual, like, I paid for my version of Office. It's installed. I have my product key. If I need to move it to a different OS, whatever, and that's it. I'm not paying you monthly for it. Leave me alone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to go jump through some hoops to get that, and most likely you're just getting an older version of Office.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That they don't
like,
support anymore.
right. So they're really hardcore on the subscription services thing. I do think that if their games were like, if Halo Infinite, instead of having 20 million people played the game, 20 million people who bought the game, yeah, that probably ain't gonna be in they probably wouldn't have that in Game Pass. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just, I mean, it just comes to
At least not
popularity.
day and date.
Well, it just comes down to popularity at a certain point. You want to think about YouTube in particular. Think about how we edit our videos and render them and stuff like that. You got free options and stuff out that you could do. You got places like DaVinci Resolve where you can either buy it for $300-$400 or you can just do the free version. But we all know the industry leader in that is well, there's two. You got for Apple, you got I think Final Cut, and then you have Adobe for PC, which is on everything, and it's almost the industry standard. And guess what? Adobe used to be able to get it, just buy it. It used to cost like $1,700 for the whole suite. But guess what? They said, screw that. We can get people to subscribe to this thing on a
Yep.
monthly basis.
Is it called Creative Cloud? Is that
Yeah,
it?
it's called the Creative Cloud. And
Yeah.
for like I have it, I have it on a student discount where it's, it's $20 a month for a year. I mean, for $20 for the first year, but after the first year it goes up to 30. After the second year it goes to 50. So everybody that gets into this service, if you're not starting at the ground, you're paying $50 a month to be able to access the Creative Cloud, something that they used to sell to you as a full product for $1,600. You can't even get it anymore. So that just lets you know that, they're willing to, these companies are willing to bypass, the long term, the upfront money for long sustained growth when it comes to like services, because that's revenue coming in. Look at what Grand Theft Auto with Rockstar is doing with Grand Theft. You can go out and buy the shark cards and stuff like that, but they got a lot of people that's going to be jumping to that subscription service that gives you what, 500,000 dollars per month for $6 a month. Now, some people are going to say that's not enough money, but guess what? There's going to be people that's going to subscribe to that. And guess what they're going to also do? They're going to spend money on the microtransactions on top of what they're getting in that subscription service. So subscription service there's a subscription service for everyone, but it's not made for every individual person to be in every little subscription service. Some people are going to see the value in one over the other. I just think PlayStation is doing the right thing by consolidating first, and they're going to add, benefits to the service later. I'm just disappointed that they added stuff like demos and stuff behind their highest tier, which I just feel like shouldn't be a thing. You should just inherently get those demos just to experience them, because guess what? The more people that can play those demos are going to be more people that get a chance to interact. I also think the smartest thing that nobody's really talking about, we talk about how Game Pass is one of the fastest growing, video game services when it comes to what they're doing, because Game Pass is growing. As much as we don't think, some people say, oh, that's all they got, 25 million people. That's a lot for a service like that, especially a first of its kind when it comes to this type of growth. But Sony, let's be for real, Slow-Mo, they did something really smart that people aren't talking about. It is going to the point that everybody's getting grandfathered into this new PlayStation revamp service when it goes live in June. And the reason I say that's because everybody that is on basic PlayStation Plus, guess what tier you're going to be in? You're going to be an essential. You're going to be the essential PlayStation gamer that's going to get the same benefits that you got right now when it comes to your 2 free games, and you're going to get your online access. You're going to get that. And we all know that right now, PlayStation Plus has 45 million people, close to 50 million people that are just subscribed to just the Plus network. So everybody, like, these companies like their numbers, Slow-Mo. They like to come out and brag about, we got 50 million people of our 120 million people ecosystem inside our service. The moment PlayStation releases this and they release those numbers, guess who will have the biggest subscription, service in video games? Sony.
It's gonna be Sony.
It's gonna be Sony. They're gonna have people that's gonna upgrade. They're gonna have people that's gonna, probably fall off. But for the most part, that 45 to 50 million people, that number is either gonna stay very, very in line to what it is now, or it's gonna grow. And the thing is, they don't have to separate how they're doing it. All they got to do is just say, in our new PlayStation, Plus services that we announced, 2 months ago, for the first couple of months, our active, monthly users is 60 million people. And when they come out and say that compared to Game Pass at 25 million, 30 million, PlayStation Plus at 60 million, they're going to go to these developers and say, hey, you know how you wanted to put your game in Game Pass? How about you put it in PlayStation, Plus in our extras tier? And we give, you get a bigger footprint of people that's already inside of that service. And of course, there's going to be numbers that's going to be thrown around to see exactly what that's going to do. But we always talk about how Sony leads by example when it comes to like just their footprint. The more people that you can sell your product to, the more people are going to be interested in being on your product. So I do think that's the one place where Sony has a huge head start on Microsoft, because they have the numbers. They have the numbers already in place to have a successful service by just converting people over. Where Xbox still, I think those numbers are going to grow in line with the games that they release. And sooner or later, it's going to be a diverging point. Are these games like Starfield going to really move the needle for Xbox? Is Xbox really happy with the growth that they're seeing with their games on the PC marketplace when it comes to being on Steam? Because I do think that's an underrated part of the Xbox strategy that people don't understand, that they sell a lot of their games on Steam. So I think that kind of helps with the losses that they are seeing on the console side. But is it enough to make up, the losses that they're seeing on the console? But I also think that Xbox Game Pass can be a loss lead forever if Xbox and Microsoft wants it to be, because they can sustain it because they're such a big company where no other company outside of Google and Apple can pretty much do that. So, I mean, what do you think about just that in general?
Well, I do think that can be some leverage for them, especially if they are aware that, hey, like Microsoft is courting X publisher to get this game on Game Pass at launch. They could be like, yeah, you could go over there with the 25 million Game Pass, or you could come over here and launch it here and then they could say, look, we'll pay you upfront less, but we'll still give you the same option where people can buy your game at a discount potentially, and we got double the subscribers they got. So what are you gonna do? So like that could be a possibility. I can see that happening. How many developers would do that, or how aggressive are they going to be with that? Who knows?
Hmm. That's true. Yeah, I see Dorian Gray said, and then Xbox can just roll live into Game Pass. That's 100 million. Well, the difference between trying to roll live into it, live isn't a part of Game Pass. You have
Yeah,
to. They
and
don't.
it's
You have to be.
yeah,
You have to be subscribed to Game Pass for that number to count. Whereas PlayStation, they're converting everybody over because
yeah,
once again,
and
PlayStation Plus
live is
is what that
cheaper.
is.
Live is cheaper than the regular Game Pass.
Right. Exactly. Live is
Not even
definitely cheaper.
Ultimate.
Well, no,
So you could
Live and Game Pass are the same price. They're both $10 a month. But they just don't. But you don't.
no.
Yeah, Live is $10. Is $10 a month if you pay for Xbox Live separately.
Live is $60 annually, and there's
Yes,
no
$60.
$60 annual for Game Pass.
No. I'm just saying if you was to do month to month options for
Who
both
does
of them,
that? No one
a
does
lot
month.
of people do it. Unfortunately.
The majority of people aren't doing
No, I
Xbox
didn't say
Live month to month.
majority. I said a lot of
But the
people.
thing, but then you have to have something that's for everyone, not just the small minority that's doing
Well, we can
$10 a
say
month
the
Xbox
same thing
Live.
for PlayStation though, because there's a lot of people that aren't buying PlayStation Live. I mean PlayStation Plus in a yearly fashion. They're paying month to month. I have the thing that the crazy thing
And
that's
that's why
crazy about
they
it.
still kept that consistent with
Yes,
like
and
because
that's what I'm
they
saying. Yeah.
but the thing is that like the base model, the essential, is still the base price, whether it's monthly or annual
Right.
for PS Plus. There is no annual for Game Pass.
No, well, Game
That
Pass is no annual, but that's the difference between PlayStation, and that's the one thing I like that PlayStation did. They actually gave you an annual option compared to what, like that $18 that you're paying for the premium pack. That would be if they didn't have a yearly option. That would be more than what Game Pass costs. Because Game Pass, there is no yearly option. I mean, shoot, they don't even give you a discount on the 3-month option. You pay $44 no matter what. So I think that was the biggest like wow moment for PlayStation because I saw those prices and I was like, only $100, $120 for a year. They're actually giving you that option, and I didn't think that was going to be a thing. I thought I thought they wanted to lock people in for more money at a longer period, but they're not doing that.
yeah. Let's
So,
move on, man. We've been on this first topic. We an
well,
hour in.
listen,
We
man, there's
still
a
on the
lot of
first
people that
topic.
wanted to hear about that. But shout out to the names of people up in the chat. Shout out to Kryptonite Soul. Shout out to Chris Singleton up in the chat. We got Dark Princess up in here. Blade X up in the chat still. Who else we got up in here? We got RRD up in the chat. Shout out to you. Erodimus. I can't forget Erodimus. You know, Erodimus. He hasn't threw any shade at you today yet. I forgot he was here because he hadn't said anything to you yet. We talked about Dorian Gray's comment already, so really appreciate all you guys. Hit the like button if you like the content, and definitely gonna move on to the next thing, which is slow-mo. First of all, what did you think of the tweet from Jeff Keighley when the digital event got leaked that it was being canceled for the year 2022? So
It's the very definition of messy. Cause all he did was tweet an emoji with a winky, a winky face emoji, and it was just like, man, I'm telling you, them commercials and musical acts going to be off the hook this year. He is going to be he's got zero competition now. Everybody's got to come to him. Well, if you're not a major publisher who can just hold their own event whenever they feel like it, you got to go to Jeff Keighley now and his Summerfest in order to get your game seen in this time frame that everyone universally recognizes is the time frame to show off your game.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, look, and Jeff has proven that he got a spot for you if you want to pay. I mean,
true.
1 year, the VGAs capped off with probably one of the worst games created in the past decade, The Fast and Furious. An absolute awful game that looked like it should have been put on a PS3 or a 360 was the last game shown with Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel up there trying to pretend like they're gamers, announcing the game of the year, and it was just like, Jeff don't care, yo. How much you paying me?
Hmm.
Sure, you keep whatever slot you want, and so it's going to be interesting because I kind of feel for the smaller developers who every now and then would have been like the dark horse game at E3. You would see people who actually were at E3 that got a chance to be able to check the game out and be like, hey, look out for this one. This one's going to be pretty awesome. Like you're not going to get that anymore because it's all digital now. And then and again, as I said, like you got people really competing for uh just to get their game shown, just to get their game revealed. And if you got the money, then you're good to go. But if you don't, then you're kind of short. You're gonna have to hope for Gamescom or hope for some other show that may pop up later on. But maybe there'll be something that will come out of all of this to be a new version of E3. But E3 was a relic that had to go. The ESA has sucked for years and did nothing to improve things and just basically just made things as worse as possible. And then the pandemic just kind of put the nail in it. I don't think we're ever going to get E3 back.
Yeah, that was the other part of the question. So, do we think this is like the final nail in the coffin for E3 when it comes to just relevance?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I said, do we think this is just the nail in the coffin for relevance?
Oh
When it
yeah,
comes to
this is
E3?
definitely it. It's over. It's over now. It's like even though they said we'll be back next year, no one believes that. Like no one believes you're gonna be back next year. They couldn't look. They just keep it a buck. They tried to do an all digital event this year like they did last year. Last year they didn't give publishers enough time to be prepared. A lot of the publishers didn't think they were going to do E3 last year, and then they decided to do it. And then there comes a lot of prep to get a good show going. And without giving those publishers a heads up, there were a lot of shows that was just like you basically, well, why did you even waste our time and your money even putting this together? Like shows where it's like they only showed like two games.
Right.
Like and the two games they showed were just like you could have did this in a tweet on a Tuesday. Like this didn't need to be a E3 thing. And clearly the shows that were decent were the only shows where you knew whether there was going to be E3 or not, they were going to do a show. Like the Xbox show.
Right.
They were going to do a show on the date they did it, whether E3 was happening or not. And like they're going to do this year. And so they've been planning probably right now they're planning for the show that'll happen in June. But meanwhile, other publishers not thinking there was going to be E3 last year, around this time period last year, were not preparing for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, it's going digital again. They probably could not get enough publishers to come back, especially when it was revealed last year that they were charging these publishers like millions of dollars to be a part of E3. The only publishers who really got into it were people who were already on the board for the ESA. So they felt compelled to do that. But if it's an all digital event, why am I spending money like I'm paying for floor space?
Right.
I can just stream an event and not pay you a dime around the same time period and just have nothing to do with the E3 and be just fine.
And have it on your own timetable.
Exactly, which is exactly what Nintendo has been doing. Exactly now what Sony and Microsoft, and Microsoft still does it around the time of E3, but like it hasn't been. Well, I can't remember the name of the building that they had.
The Microsoft Theater.
No. Well, they have it at the Microsoft Theater, but the Microsoft Theater isn't where E3 is.
Oh, you talking about it's at the LA Convention Center.
Right. So like they haven't been doing it there. Nintendo has been all digital with their directs for years. Sony's last show was what, 2019, I think, there. So like they're done with it. EA is done with it. EA does a whole day event. I forgot, EA Play is what they call it. And they just
They do
they,
it the
they
week.
just talk and
Yeah.
play games and reveal stuff occasionally throughout the course of like 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Look, once these publishers realize the power that they have in social media, E3 became irrelevant because the same, like, why spend all this money putting a show together around this time period when I could do my own show at my own leisure when my developers are ready to show their stuff and I can save myself some money.
Mm.
There's no benefit to it.
Yeah, it sucks too because I never got a chance to go to E3. Shout out to I believe it was Blade that said it. Yeah, but shout out to all the people that have been to E3. Oh yeah, Dorian Gray did say, he said, yeah, at least he got to go to 3 E3s. Shout out to you, man. I was supposed to go to the one the year before last with the Iron Lords, and that's when COVID hit. So that was probably my only opportunity at this point. But yeah, I do think it's just going to open up a chance for somebody else to do something different. I don't know what it could actually be, because right now Jeff Keighley just seems to have the the eyes of everybody inside of the gaming community when it comes to putting on a show like that, because at least they feel like they're going to be kind of taken serious when it comes to the presentation, when it comes to that, even though we kind of cringe at 90% of the stuff that happens on those shows. But
Yeah.
I do think that E3 for the most part with the ESA, really good meme of the ESA being slapped by Jeff Keighley on Twitter too. If you ain't seen that one,
Is it Chris Rock and
yeah,
Will Smith?
it absolutely
And
is.
figure. But I think, like, in the shifting of things of the landscape, so to speak, I think like PAX might be able to, at least on the US side of things, because E3 has always been it's always taken place in LA, so therefore it's like an American event. Like Gamescom
Yeah.
is different. Either Gamescom used to always, in Tokyo Game Show as well, as far as people actually going there, will always have a bigger gate and more people there than E3 did. E3 was always supposed to be initially like a games media kind of thing, and then and but not like really open to the public. When then they eventually opened it to the public, but it's never been as getting as many people as say like Gamescom gets. Like, this doesn't really affect Gamescom at all, but I wonder if something like PAX would kind of like become more important now that E3 is officially kind of like pretty much done. Now that like we start to see maybe some developers or maybe some bigger publishers start to take PAX more seriously, because I think PAX, and look, I've never been to one, so I don't know for certain, but I kind of feel like PAX is more of what you expect from like seeing really good indie games, indie developers go there to kind of show off what they're working on and hopefully get some attention put on their game from games media and content creators like ourselves.
Yeah.
And now maybe that might turn into something a little bit more than that. I think it will be up to the people who run PAX to kind of put the wheels in motion and start to network with people, decision makers, and for publishers and platform holders to try to make that happen. But I mean, we'll have to see what happens, because what I don't want to see is the only thing that's in this slot is Jeff Keighley's Summerfest. Like, I don't think they've ever been good. He's only done it for 2 years, but so far I think he's done a much better job with the VGAs than Summerfest. I find Summerfest to be boring, spread out
I don't
all
think
throughout
it
the
is.
summer. Him hyping up events that barely show anything. Him always bringing in like acts, like rock bands from the '90s and stuff, and it's just like, I don't care about these musical acts, bro. I wanted to see games.
Right.
Commercials left and right. Yo, Summerfest sucks. I just keep it. It's terrible, and I don't think lack of competition is going to make that better. So we need something to kind of like give us a quality event to actually showcase
Do
what's coming out.
do you actually think Sony will ever get back to doing, because they've been doing a lot like their PlayStation State of Plays and stuff. They do
Hmm.
them based around particular games. Like they did one for Ratchet and Clank, they did it for Returnal. They do it for all their games now. Do you think we're ever going to get like a Taylor event where they basically just showcase all of PlayStation, or do you think we're going to continue to keep getting the basic, you're not basic, but just the breakdown of all of the just different games as they get closer to when they coming out?
I think Sony is much more on the side of like what Nintendo is doing with their directs than what say Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is still this is what okay, so like I think Sony is going to do a PlayStation showcase annually,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have a specific month or season that they do it in. They just do it when they got enough stuff to actually put a full like 45 minutes to an hour show together showing you what's coming on the horizon, and a lot of stuff is new,
Right.
like when they can come up with like showing you Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 and everything else they got like going on in the future, then they'll do a show. Xbox is more on the side of, look, second week of June, you know what you're getting from us. You're getting a showcase.
Right.
And then m- what they seem to have done is unofficially use the VGAs as the time where they show off stuff too. So they show off like gameplay for games that are coming out that they haven't shown yet, or reveal games for the first time, systems for the first time.
Hmm.
They're doing that at the VGAs later in the year, when with especially with stuff that maybe wasn't ready to be shown at around the E3 frame in June. And then Nintendo was just like, look, man, you get a direct when we got something to show you. And that's about it. And so I think for the platform holders, that's going to remain consistent. What the other third party publishers are going to have to start doing, like and maybe even so we'll say like Take Two, because Take Two has never really been like, let's do our own conference kind of thing. They've always like, uh if they got something to show like from Rockstar, then they'll choose Sony stage to show it.
Right.
But they don't have that they don't have that luxury anymore, because there probably won't be an E3 anymore. Ubisoft and other publishers, like third party publishers, they're gonna have to work on their doing it all themselves, which it seems like they have, because like I think Ubisoft came out and said, I forgot the name of what they call their event, but they said they're gonna do it twice a year. So they're
Oh,
gonna have one
Ubisoft.
early in the year.
What was it?
Connect, is it the
Yeah,
Connect?
it's something Connect. Ubisoft Connect, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So they're going to do one early in the year and one later in the year. I don't think Ubisoft really has enough content to support that. They should just do one annual and just have a bunch of stuff there,
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing two shows, because I don't think they actually provide enough content on an annual basis to really support that and make it a good show. Two good shows. But like, yeah, these third party publishers are going to have to start doing it all on their own. Um, and figuring out their way of getting that stuff done, because you're not going to get it. You're not going to get half E3 to fall back on anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, it sucks, man. Too. I remember some of my best memories from just sitting here E3, seeing Halo trailers and stuff like that. I used to literally take off work for E3, like, cause I wanted to sit at home and be uninterrupted. Stay at home on Sunday, not work. Cause Microsoft did their thing at 12 o'clock, and just looking at all the. And this is before Twitter was a huge thing. just like go online and look at everybody's excitement about things that's coming out and stuff, and then having to go to work on Monday, get off, and Sony went live at 9 o'clock on Eastern time on Monday nights, and Nintendo would always go Tuesday morning. The fact that we knew what that cadence was, and it was like tried and true year after year after year, was really cool. And that's the thing I missed the most about what E3 used to bring: the consolidation of information all in a short period of time. You didn't have to wait for news to come, because you knew the majority of it was gonna hit during that cycle. You were just going to get more clarification on all of those different things over the course of the next coming weeks and months. But for the most part, the cat was out of the bag, when E3 was the thing. So yeah, to each his own. What was before we move on to the next thing, what was your favorite moment from just E3 in general, like any E3?
Oh man.
Got to go back into that library, man.
Yeah.
Like, what was the thing that got you super, like, when you saw it, you was like, oh,
I
man.
think probably the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
That really, like, I was done. I was just like, this is like, and it's shout out to Sony for like always having those wow moments, even though it was like when you look back at it, it was like, man, that game didn't even come out for like,
it was like some years.
that game took forever to come out. So it was like, was it really a wow? I mean, it was still a wow moment at that time, but it's just that like the impact of it, as far as like actually playing the game, took forever to come to pass. But they had a few moments like that, but that was probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah, might as well always still, go back to Halo, because like that's what really got me into it. Just seeing, the renders for this is when I would definitely agree with Slow-Mo that in-game renders and in-game assets are definitely not the same from what you're actually going to play, because those original in-game engine renders of Halo 2, when he was going up into the space bay to take the bomb out of the back of the ship. That looks so good. They showed like the lighting and everything. I was like, oh no, it looks so cool. And I literally was the year before it came out, and I was super excited. And I remember looking at that trailer, Slow-Mo, probably 1,000 times, probably in that first week or so. And then every once in a while, whenever I just got an itch to go look at Halo 2 stuff, I would look at that trailer again and again and again. And that's probably the most excited I've ever been. That was probably my most excited time for just gaming in general when it came to something like that, because it was like the last time I've been super excited outside of just playing the games in general. For the most part now, the older you get, you just start taking the games as they come out. But I definitely envy you for still being super invested in what they showed for Final Fantasy, because I definitely did feel that feeling there. It just didn't, like, it dissipated a lot quicker, because you kind of become a lot cynical, like, okay, that was really cool, but when the heck is that game coming out?
Right. And no, I was definitely in that camp. You talking about like just like biggest moment?
Well, yeah, biggest moment, yeah.
But like, man, I was definitely in that camp. Like 4 years later, like, yo, what did y'all show? And then when the news came out that like what they showed was, of course, it was like CG trailer pre-rendered. Like it was nothing like in-game assets, right? And then they were like had to replace the director because it just wasn't like working out, trying to take what they showed and turn it into an actual game, which they eventually did do. But and it looked very, very close to what was shown initially in the reveal, but it took a long time to get there, a really long time. And I don't think anybody who first saw that was like, oh yeah, all right, well, I'll check that out in 2020. Like nobody thought that was going to be the case. Everybody thought it was going to be like 2017 or something at the latest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, shout out to Surtaz in the chat. I don't know if I mentioned you earlier. Definitely want to ask. Well, if you got, what was your favorite E3 moments in the chat? Like, bring up some of the stuff that some people said in the chat. But if you got a favorite E3 moment, let us know, and we'll definitely bring it up. But shout out to Chris Singleton. He says the only E3. He said the only E3 in the three is three E's in Jeff Keighley's name. Oh Lord. Let's see. Dorian Gray says, I only care about the PC gaming show and summer Steam sales. Listen, man, summer Steam sales, they used to get me every year, but I had to take a step back because I was spending way too much money on
That
games
PC
that literally
gaming
were
show
sitting.
was terrible. That PC gaming show for E3 was awful. I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it was pretty bad, you
Oh
know.
my god! So let's see. Arcade says Summerfest was bad, so he definitely agrees with you on that, slow mo. Let me see. Yes, Mike, this is the All Times Kings team. Shout out to Diller for picking the teams. RRD says the Halo 4 reveal was so good. Listen, yeah, the Halo 4 reveal at E3 was really good too. That's the one thing I will give E3. I mean, not E3. The one thing I will give 343 credit for. They definitely know how to put on an E3 show. They definitely know how to show off Halo. They just I
Mm,
do like the way they show off. Hey, they just don't do well. It's with the exception of
mm,
last year. With the
yeah.
exception, okay, you're right. With the exception of last year, last year was pretty not good. Mike says Sony's E3 2016 was fire. RD says Halo 2 was fire too. Absolutely. Oh, we got Rousier. Is it Rousier?
Relzair. How do you keep saying this wrong?
I don't know because it makes me want to say something. Let's say Railsair. Okay, Railsair, whatever. All right, you guys think Microsoft will still do BlizzCon in the future? That is an interesting question because
Yes, they
BlizzCon
will.
is usually no
Yeah,
like
yeah,
October or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. I don't think. Look, you can't have everything that you own at this point all in it one Xbox show. That thing is going to take all day long.
Yeah,
So, yeah, BlizzCon is his own thing. It's been going on for years. And it's been separate. It's never been like a part of E3 or anything. It's been its own con. It's on its own convention. Yeah, they'll keep it going. You know, it's yeah. It'll I think it'll remain separate. I do think some games that Activision does in general will now be a part of the Xbox show. But I don't think, like, as far as Blizzard goes, the Blizzard part of Activision Blizzard King, I think that will remain part of BlizzCon. So like, I don't think you're gonna see like what I don't know. Maybe will do like a teaser of like Overwatch 2 at the Xbox show. But if you want like the full, like, here is the gameplay breakdown, here how are the new characters, and here are the new modes, and they get into detail with it, then you're probably gonna want to see that at BlizzCon instead.
right. And they did just release. I think they released a little bit of some gameplay concept for Diablo 4 today. So if you
That's cool.
haven't checked it out yet myself, and Diablo's my favorite IP from Blizzard, so definitely looking forward to what they got there. Uh Rails Air. Okay, Rails Air. Okay.
Finally.
Rails Air. Okay. I'm gonna put that in my
You
my
keep saying that and you're not. So just move
my
on.
Apple
You,
Notes
you,
so I can remember
you, you,
Rails
you, you're
Air.
not going to remember it.
I
Let's just
am.
move on.
Listen, I am Rouser. It's Rouser. Am I saying it right now, Solo? Rouser.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Whatever. Shout out to Brian McHenry. He says my favorite E3 moment was when Sony showed how to share games with friends on PlayStation. Listen, that was a thunderous applaud when they did that. The whole that was probably one of the most petty moments in a public setting I've ever seen a company really make. Literally just 24 hours later made Xbox's whole presentation just look bad. Um, let's see. Yeah, Dory Gray says BlizzCon is too big, and then Blade X said, "When we gonna get a Spider-Man reveal? When you think we're gonna get the actual reveal of Spider-Man, Slomo? Like what year?
Probably
2024?
next year.
Next year?
I think probably next year. Yeah. we will see like a full-fledged trailer, like that, a teaser thing. Give
Okay.
us a little bit more ideas of what it's going to be about, but nothing too serious. But I don't think that game's coming out until like 2024.
Yeah. So the poll, we had 47% of the people say, yeah, this is it for E3. E3 is in the dumpster. We had 32% say, no, E3 can still come back. And then 21% said, who cares? E3s are probably irrelevant anyway at this point. And, shout out to everybody that participated in that. So, Slomo, let's move over to the third topic. One of my favorite games of all time, or just favorite genres of all time, because the game's not out yet, is Breath of the Wild 2. And you had an amazing, super amazing tweet on the day that it got delayed. And I just want you to, why don't you share with the people what that tweet was and what was the context of that tweet, sir?
My tweet basically said that a broken clock is right 2 times a day. And one of those times is Forte being right about Breath of the Wild 2 being delayed into 2023.
I appreciate that, man. Every once in a while I'm right. Not often. Yeah, I'm not an insider, not a Nintendo insider. It was common sense that this was gonna happen. There's no way that game was coming out this year, and y'all can continue to keep holding hope for this God of War coming out this year too.
Yeah, this is where you go too far.
Yeah, okay.
And you are and look,
you trying to tell me to stop while I'm ahead?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
So
let me ask you this: when I'm about to say it again, when God of War gets delayed to 2023, what is that tweet gonna say? What kind of sauce is gonna be on that tweet?
nothing, because it's not happening.
Oh, so you don't even want to think about it because you don't even want to admit
Because it's
that
not
this is a
happening.
possibility.
It's coming out this year.
Okay. All right. Well,
You see, you really think Sony, when it comes to first party, is only going to have, they're going to be done with all their games by early March for the rest of the year?
no, they still have Forspoken coming out. That's
That's not a first party game.
Doesn't matter. They're going to consider it something like that.
No, they're not.
What did they have come out last year at the end of the year? What came out in the fourth quarter? What came out past September for them last year? Nothing.
I don't remember.
Nothing.
When was the latest first party game for them last year?
Ratchet and Clank.
Are you sure?
Yes, Ratchet and Clank. Because what was the name of it? Ratchet and Clank was the last first party. The last third party exclusive was Deathloop.
So so Ratchet and Clank came out in June.
I'm just trying to tell you, man.
Look, okay, so but still, this is what I'm saying.
It's no saving.
No.
This one.
No. This is what I'm saying.
Oh no.
That's June.
Tactical Gamer said they had Kena, which was what, September?
That's not a first party game.
Oh yeah, it's third party. Yeah, he's thinking third party exclusive to PlayStation 5. But
no, I'm talking about just first party games. So June was the latest last year.
Mm-hmm.
Via Vex says the Ghost, the Tsushima director's cut, and Death Stranding director's cut. I don't think those really count either because they're like re-releases of games that came out like a year earlier. I don't really count director's cuts. But look, okay, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was June. You really think for the entire year Sony is going to be done with first party content by the middle of March?
I'm not saying. I'm just saying that they won't. Listen, I because we don't know what's coming out in the summer. Do we think that
exactly? So why are we just automatically assuming God of War is not coming out until next year?
No, this is just my belief that Sony will not release, because everybody keeps telling me that this game could come out in September. I'm like, or before September. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna live on the word.
When the first God of War was announced for April in 2018.
Yes, April.
When did they announce it for April? February.
Yes, February.
So they announced it 2 months
Well, no, they also
before they released
they
it.
announced it for but they announced it for that quarter. They just didn't give it a date yet. They finally gave it a date. They announced it for the second quarter of 2018.
What I'm saying is that
They
they
still ain't
did
give it a
a short
quarter.
release. They didn't get. I don't recall them
They
giving it a
gave they
quarter.
did. They said spring.
They said spring. What, the year before in 2017?
Yes, they said spring 2018. We just didn't know when in spring.
Okay, so instead of that, they've just said 2022.
Yes.
It's that. What is the problem?
Because 2020, okay, because there's a big
We're
gap.
not even halfway through the year. What is the problem?
Slow-mo. Okay, you know what? Do you want to put something on? You want to bet on this?
No, why is everything gotta be a bet? How about you just answer the question?
No.
What is the problem?
Because listen, we're both arguing from a different point of view here. I'm arguing from the belief stance that this game ain't coming out. I have no facts behind it saying it's going to happen. It just like Breath of the Wild, I feel like they're not going to release that game this year due to the fact that they kind of want to release that in line with another system. I do think next year they're going to be starting to talk about that next Switch, but I don't know if it's going to be tied to Breath of the Wild. But I also know that they are not just going to release that game in the middle of the holiday, even though they kind of could with a Zelda game. They're kind of used to the release cadence of it being early in the year. Multiple versions of their games have released early in the year and have done really well. And why fight with position over a holiday season with other games that's coming out when you could just have a whole quarter to yourself?
You talking about Nintendo or you talking about Sony?
No, Nintendo. That's why I said that's the thing. That's the
okay,
reason
but like you're mixing what Nintendo does in their marketing strategy and their release strategy. The Sony doesn't always do the same. Nintendo released.
When's the last time Sony released a game over the holiday?
Hold on. No, you using Nintendo as an example, and yet Nintendo has released Pokemon games and Smash Bros in the holiday season before. Recently.
Absolutely. Oh no, they do it with every Pokemon game.
So like, how are you using Nintendo as an example of what Sony may do?
Because we're just talking about certain games. Like Pokemon always does it. Pokemon is always released in November. Like the one that they got coming out later this year. I forget the name of the ones that's coming out this year. They always come out in November. They also didn't release their brand new one, Arceus. They released their remakes for Sword and Shield. Those were November. But those were ones that they knew people were going to go out and buy because they were remakes of original games that people loved already, and they were going to definitely want to get back. But
they released games in the holiday.
But did they do Arceus, their brand new Pokemon game like that? No, they said no. We're not going to risk the sales generator on a brand new Pokemon game to the holidays.
Did they really say that, or you saying that's what they were thinking?
No, I'm just saying that it's common sense.
Because that's not common sense. That's just you projecting on what they were thinking.
Okay, maybe it is.
Or like they released it when they did because the game was ready.
Well, Somo, be the word of your conviction. Do you think God of War is coming out this year?
Yeah, I think it's coming out this year.
So put a bet on it.
No, I'm not putting a bet on anything.
Why not?
Because that's all you wanted every single time.
Because that's the best barometer to see if you're a man of your convictions.
I literally just said I think it's coming out this year.
Okay.
That's all the conviction you need.
Put a monetary gain on it.
No,
I'm willing to put money to it.
I don't care what you're willing to put, but yeah, so you've lost a lot.
I lost once.
So you lost twice.
Which was the other one?
You lost you lost the whole
I only paid out once.
You're gonna lose the games beat thing this year. You already lost that. You already know
we haven't lost nothing. It's not the end of the year yet. So I lost one time so far.
You were not going to even reach the number I'm at right now. How about that?
What are you at now?
7. You're not even going to beat 7 games this year. So you already know you lost that.
Okay.
You also lost when you tried to say Xbox was going to outsell Nintendo and Sony in this launch window, which didn't happen, and you lost that too. So look, I'm doing you a favor, okay?
Sounds good.
You keep wanting to bet everything, and I'm like, look, I'm tired of taking it from you, man. I feel bad.
No, Chris Singleton said you make the bet. You're the one saying it won't come out this year. I'm trying to make the bet with him. I'm trying to. He don't want to take it.
I don't want to take his
It's
money no
easy
more.
in his words. It's easy money right now, but
I
he
don't
don't want
want
to
to.
take it.
I
He
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
take his
take it.
money no more.
He don't want to take my money. He really truly believed that the game's coming out, and like I said, it's not that I don't want the game to come out. I just feel like Sony has never. They haven't. You tell me the last time Sony released a game in the fourth quarter. Nintendo was probably a bad example, but when's the last time Sony's
They
done it?
did. Now you could say it was because they were releasing a console, but they did it in 2020.
Yeah, because they were releasing a console. Absolutely. Well, you got to have some. Well, they're not Microsoft releasing a system without a game.
Yeah.
So let's be for real. Let's be for real on that one.
But again, it doesn't even have to be in a holiday. Like there's like 6 months in between the holiday season and now. They can release the game at any point. They can release it this summer. You know, they can release it in August. They
Yeah.
can they it could be released then. Like it's just like this whole thought that it's definitely not this year and it's April 1st.
Okay.
Like it's April.
Okay.
We have 8 months left in the year. Like,
We do.
all right.
I'm just trying to put feet to fire, and you don't want to take it.
I'm tired of taking your money.
That's interesting, but you know, you just don't want to go with the flow on it. But I'm with you though. But I do think that Zelda being delayed is good, just because in general a good game cannot be worse because it was delayed. It can only be better. And they have a lot of ambitious things that they're trying to do with this game. And I want them to make the world bigger. I want them to make it so when you're running through the open world, you're not going from one point to another point without seeing any enemies. Because as good as the open world is in Zelda, I do think it was pretty empty when it comes to what you were doing inside of it. So I do think it's good that they're doing stuff like that. We don't know exactly what the reason for the delay is, but who knows? It could be polish, it could be anything at this point, but I just think it's a good thing that the game's being delayed and being worked on longer. Slomo, anything else you want to say about this since you don't want to take my money for some strange reason?
Nope. Let's move on.
Okay. All right, final topic. Let's talk about the allegations of bullying and sexism over at Undead Labs and how people were, talking crap about Sony going through this and Activision Blizzard going through this. And I tried to tell people, I was like, don't think that your favorite developer or platform isn't going through these same things and you just don't know about it yet. And seems to be that Microsoft Studios definitely dealing with it. It does seem like it has gotten better, because a lot of the reports are saying that over the last couple of years it's gotten better, but they just want to see the actual game progress under the way that it's doing now. But Slomo, why don't you go ahead and tell me what you think about just this situation in general?
Undead Labs.
Yep.
How about I was super shocked that game is still in pre-production.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. I didn't even think about that.
How about I was shocked of how they decided to like basically based upon what the developers were saying about how they were choosing to develop this game was that they had like these devs siloed in these small little teams working on like aspects of the game, but not necessarily speaking to one another and making sure like was stuff that was going to work. It just seemed really. It seemed like here is a developer that is moving from AAA to AAA, but they don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just on the game development aspect of things. Then you got all the minimizing of women's voices to the point where it's just like women are being talked over in meetings. Ideas are not being listened to. You got your typical HR is not your friend
Mm-hmm.
and not helping you. And you got your typical just uh all kinds of foods. Like that Jeff Strand out here apparently like had like mentally checked out and physically checked out because he wasn't even in the office for a long time before he finally officially moved on.
Mm-hmm.
It, you know, it's I've said this for years, and people told me I was crazy for saying it. Some people still think that I don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, but they can't provide any evidence or any facts to counter what I'm saying when I say that Microsoft's whole kumbaya hands off approach is a double-edged sword. And if people can't wrap their head around a publisher of that magnitude just approving things and just allowing people to spend money without any kind of oversight, without any kind of direction, and without any kind of pushback when things go awry, you know. But we've seen it with other publishers. Anthem was a game that was in development for years before they finally figured out that the publisher, the developer BioWare had no idea what they were doing with the game, and went 4 years without getting out of pre-production to actually make the game. Why is it any different for Microsoft? Microsoft, this is Microsoft Xbox Game Studios. Look, and I'm not trying to be mean here, okay? I'm not. But how do you allow Rare to show Everwild? They don't know what the game is. Who approved that? So what is it? What is it here? Are they so out of touch that they would allow Rare to just say, yeah, go ahead and show this right now? Deer with fluorescent antlers and people dancing around the fire. What's the game? Don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Not once, but twice. They showed it twice and still didn't have an idea what the game was. Those people are going around saying, oh, you got to make games like this. Those people are micromanaging their studios. No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
What this shows, as I said, a double-edged sword. The studios that don't need to be micromanaged, they're gonna be just fine. Your Double Fine, you know what all Schaefer needed was some money. Just give me the money. Already he showed with Psychonauts 2, we could be a Game of the Year contender nominee. And all I got was Microsoft's funding for like the last quarter of development of the game. Imagine what we're going to do in the next one. Obsidian, all they needed was the money. Ninja Theory, hey, imagine with the money how much more we can use our in-house proprietary mocap for our games. Just give us the money. And that's fine. Let them do them. I'll even add the Coalition, Turn 10, and Playground in there. Even though the stuff coming out from Playground ain't exactly the nicest that you want to hear either, right?
True.
But then Undead Labs, what have they proven? What they proven was that their social media people don't know what AAA mean. Because with State of Decay 2, when someone asks if it's going to be AAA, they say AAA all the way. They rhyming out here. But do you know what AAA means? Because your game wasn't AAA. It wasn't. So now you got the studio head saying that the budget's biggest budget they've ever had, massive AAA game they're doing. They're getting mocap in there. They're doing performance capture. They're trying to jazz it up. They're trying to make the game what the original vision of the game was supposed to be. The first State of Decay.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to get there. And the guy that originally was pioneering all that. Oh, he's gone. He admitted 80% of the money for the sale of Undead Labs went to him and his wife. 20% of that, this is in the article, 20% of that went to, some of the key people that helped found Undead Labs, which was like a dozen. And he's out. He's gone. So what are you doing? And it seems to me that, and look, I'm not a producer, right? For a publisher, but it seems to me that if you're nurturing talent, if you're trying to nurture these studios, right, that you can't treat them all the same, because not all of them are at the same place.
Right.
Some of them have had a established culture for decades. Like Sony, I don't think is going to treat, and actually you can pretty much see so far they wouldn't treat Bungie the same way they treat Haven Studios. Although Haven is being ran by a veteran like Jay Raymond, it's a brand new studio. They're a year old. Bungie's been around for decades. There's a difference. Xbox shouldn't be treating Undead Labs the way they treat Obsidian. You can't do that, because there's nothing they can say to Obsidian about how to make a Western RPG. They know how to do that. You can't tell them anything about that. They're the experts here. But Undead Labs, who hasn't released a game that has at least an 80 Metacritic yet? Undead Labs that hasn't released a game that wasn't a buggy mess at launch? That Undead Labs? No. You don't treat them with like, hey, you guys, just make your game. We'll check in every now and then, see how things are going. Yeah, you know what? How many times we got to hear from developers that they wished Microsoft was more hands-on?
Yeah.
We heard it from the Initiative, Undead Labs. We heard it from 343 devs who said they wish Microsoft would have came in and took care of some of the issues, the back and forth before Staten got there, of course. And it's just like, this is a consistent theme that we see, that we hear from these studios internally. Now, of course, we haven't heard from all of them, right?
Right.
We don't know what's going on at Compulsion. We don't know what's going on at Turn 10. We don't know what's going on at In Exile. But for the ones that we have heard what's going on, it's been a consistent theme. And the theme is that the parents ain't home.
They been
And
home for a while.
the kids got a credit card with no limit. And homework not getting done. And the grades suck. Progress report not looking too good. And what are the parents doing about it? So yeah, I'm done with my rant. That's how I feel about it. I'm just tired of seeing the same reports over and over again. I'm now, a year ago, 2 years ago, I thought in 2023 they about to be dropping game after game after game after game. Now. How many of the games that we thought would be coming out in 2023, how many did we find out are still in pre-production?
Yeah, that's true.
Damn near all of them. Still in pre-production. Hellblade 2. Still in pre-production. State of Decay 3. Still in pre-production. Perfect Dark. Just getting on track. Fable. 2023? So look, I hate to sound like the negative Nancy over here, or the negative Negan. I'm a dude. Negative Negan, right? That sounds better, Spike Bat Negan, right? No, but just like it doesn't look good. And I hope it turns out great. And I love the fact that apparently, like the way that Kotaku article stated that they got things on track with Undead Labs. Things are better. At least culturally, at least women are being listened to now.
Yeah.
Let's give a hand clap to that. They're listening to women now. They aren't being shouted down when they have an idea in the meeting room. So we're making progress. But come on, man. Can I get a success story out here? Can we get something? Hopefully E3 got, some stuff looking good.
Yeah.
Because
No.
right now, you got Starfield coming out in November. Redfall was supposed to be summer, but we still ain't got a release date on Redfall.
We ain't even got gameplay.
We ain't got gameplay. We ain't seen a single 3-second screenshot, anything. Yeah. Ain't seen a GIF of gameplay or nothing.
Character breakdown, nothing.
Nothing to Redfall. Supposed to be in summer. Okay. I mean, I don't know. It ain't looking too hot. I hope for the best, though. Hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
Thoughts and prayers.
That's how I kind of feel with it at this point, because I'm just tired of just the same narrative, the same merry-go-round, the same Ferris wheel. It just seems to be this never-ending story of not listening to women, not equal inequality and stuff. It just seems to be a very huge disconnect across not just the gaming community, but that's just the world in general. And you kind of at a certain point it becomes like white noise and something that just seems like background. Like if it's not happening, you feel like, okay, what's really wrong then? This is actually not happening here and stuff like that. And you should never be surprised to hear success stories, just like you should have to be worried that every publisher of every game that you want to play is having some type of situation when it comes to just morale and stuff at work. It's just this disconnect that I never truly just understood. Everybody should have a voice on some type of project when it comes to that. Even if the voice isn't a good voice when it comes to exactly the direction you want to go in, but to feel like you're not even valued as an opinion is even worse.
Or at least respect the organizational hierarchy. The report said some of the women that were being ignored were like the senior, people leading the team. How you just ignoring like the head of art, the art director,
your
the art
superiors
design.
and stuff. How is that?
The head of environment art. You just forget what Kathy guys say. Let's just. What are you doing? What is happening? Like I'm gonna be mean for a second because look, it's been that kind of week and I don't give a damn, right?
Okay, let's go.
What kind of incel loser who ain't never touched a woman before kind of person are you that you can't even respect someone who is in senior authority because they're a woman? What is wrong? Like, what kind of limp genitalia? I'm trying to be PC here because at DPS we're not trying to get too vulgar, but what kind of limp, flaccid attitude is that like you just can't handle that there's a woman in charge? You just can't handle that some women may have an idea that might be a good idea where you gotta wait until Craig steals the idea to say it was a good idea? What kind of loser are you? Like, did you just not date women in high school or something, or college? Dag, not even in college. College is easy. I mean, shoot, back in the day before Netflix and chill was like, hey, you want to hang out and watch a movie? Everybody knew what that meant. It was easy. It was easy. Yeah. You weren't even doing that. You that bad? You down that bad? And so now you at work, taking out your frustrations on the women who just trying to do their job. Disgusting. Pathetic.
Yeah.
Do better.
I love your.
Just do better.
I love your analogies. And if I had to tell you, just like everybody in the chat's been tell you, they love you too. I love you too, Slomo.
I thank you. I love you too
I
for
love
that.
I love everything that you do for us when it comes to the information you give. But it's just it's sad. It's sad to see that we will most likely never escape from the criticisms and just overall hierarchy of how people feel like they matter more than other people. Like my opinion matters more than you. I mean, I can understand, everybody wants to be the reason something succeeds, and everybody wants to be the reason that we accomplish what we accomplish, but you still don't do that without a team, and
Right.
the team is how these things come together. Unless you're a team of two people or one person that made some of these amazing experiences out there, you should be trying to celebrate the people that help you get that product on the shelf as much as possible, no matter what media you're in. And it just comes back to people do not respect each other. And if you're not going to respect each other, how do you expect other people to want to respect you? But people, that's what they want. They just want all the accolades without actually having to share the accolades with anybody else. And in general, this is just going to be a situation and a conversation that's going to continue until we get into a point where there's leadership put in place that thinks differently. And a lot of these companies are run by, generic thinking people. Not saying that all these companies are, but until you get forward thinking people that value people's opinions and stuff, that's when you normally see the culture change. And even then it's even harder because you still have to get that culture to be supported across the multiple instances of all the people that are working in your company, because nobody is trying to tell people that they need to be like everybody else. We're not robots, we are people, and people have feelings, and you can't expect everybody to act the same. But when you're doing that, it just should come back to the reality that we should just respect each other more. And that's definitely not something that's been going on inside our community or just in gaming in general or whatever media you're in. But yeah, Slomo, I really appreciate what you said, because that kind of hits home, because I manage a bunch of people, and I know you have a lot of people that report to you too, and a lot of the people in our chat, we have people that report to them if they're in a senior leadership position or anything like that, or just your kids and your family, anybody. Respect is given when it's earned, not just because you're here, and that's the thing that people kind of miss out of this whole scenario. But what else do you think about it? You pretty much said you done with the conversation because you don't want to just
Oh
be the
yeah, I'm
old
done.
man.
I'm tapped out,
You
man.
tapped out.
I said what I had to say. Like I said, like I'm tired of seeing these kind of reports, and it's not. I'm not singling out Xbox Game Studios, because it's not like this is the first time we've heard anything like this.
Right.
We heard this stuff at Bungie, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft. It's rampant all across the industry, and what I see is a lot of rampant flaccidness going on across the industry right now. It's just a lot of flaccid mentality men out here that can't handle being able to work and collaborate and with equal input from other people, not just women, but also minorities, people from different cultures, people from different walks of life. Not everybody, I'm sorry, like the world isn't like just cis white males, bro. It's not. So gotta get over it and work with people that you may not have a lot of um not influence, but a lot of time around, and that's a part of life. Grow up,
Yeah.
get your job done. They're trying to do their job. How about you do yours?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. That's all I got, man.
Cool. Well, shout out to the Ash and Luca with the $5 holla. Thoughts? 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 Luca is only thing she didn't do is put her traditional eyes and lips on that one. But
It's funny. I did that Elden Ring review,
mm-hmm.
and I fully expected somebody in the comments to make a comment about the password that I had in there. because the password was
Was
thoughts
thoughts.
for the multiplayer. And I showed it, and nobody like not a single person. So I don't know what it was. Either people just didn't notice it, or people was like people's passwords they've been given to their friends to do multiplayer in Elden Ring. It's so much worse than that they just thought that was nothing. I don't know. I just like I was fully expecting somebody to go thoughts LOL.
Yeah.
And no, out of 51 comments, 50 plus whatever comments on my video, literally nobody had anything to say about it. I was completely shocked.
No, man. Shout out to Luca, man. Can't wait her to drag through Sir Taz so they can play. I know he's gonna give her a little break. But you know what, Taz, you might want to get her playing Elden Ring before it's too late, because right now she still got the bug. Sooner or later she gonna die of frustration from that game, because she's gonna be completely done with it, and she gonna be like, do you really want me to play this with you? I'll do it, Taz. I'll do it. But I put over 300 hours in this game. So you might want to get her now while she's still hot with the game before she falls off completely.
Yeah.
But or you could get Slomo to help you.
Well, he's on Xbox though.
I mean, you can get it on Xbox too.
Yeah, I'm good.
You don't want to start your adventure over?
I'm about to get this platinum, and I might have to uninstall this game so I can get back to playing other games.
Wait. So speaking of which, so you have officially found another game that you just want to know life, and the way you're going to solve that is by getting the platinum and deleting it. How does it feel to be a slave of a game?
I don't feel good at all. Because I want to play other stuff, but then like I sit down to play other stuff, and then my hands just drift over to the DualSense, and then I'm turned on the PlayStation, and I'm like, but this doesn't look like Tiny Tina Wonderland, and it's Elden Ring, and it's just like, how did this happen again?
Lord,
so yeah, it's gotta go. I gotta get this platinum. I gotta get 2 more endings. I only got 2 trophies left. 2 endings. I need to get these 2 endings and get this thing off of my SSD ASAP.
I like how you went from being a person that thought, From Software games were janky to a person that literally platinums them.
Hey,
Proud
look,
of you, man.
There's some things.
Hey,
look, let me I ain't trying to be here all night. Let's go ahead and just we can wrap this up.
We can get up out of here. Dorian Gray says, I'm a happy, willing slave to Valorant.
Oh man, see, look, the online multiplayer games that have a good gameplay loop and a lot of a learning curve. Because I think Valorant, like, look, I've played a little bit of Valorant, but there's no controller support, so that's a no-go for me on a competitive level. Because if I gotta do mouse and keyboard,
yeah, that's
what. But learning the characters and then mastering them and all that stuff, like, I mean, that stuff takes time, man.
It does. It does. RRD, my favorite controller is the Elite controller. I'm more of an Xbox person because I'd like the offset thumbsticks. It just feels more comfortable when I'm playing shooters and stuff. I don't mind when I'm playing like third person action adventure games like Sony has and stuff, because it's not like it's hard to play on a PS4 or PS5 DualSense or anything like that. I just prefer the Xbox controller layout more. And then I just can't play with anything other than an Elite controller at this point. When my Elite controller dies, which inevitably everybody in here, their Elite controller will die at some point in one way or another. Just make sure you have a warranty to take care of it. But with that being said, guys, really appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to the almost 45 people we had up in the chat on a off day when it comes to Friday. We will be back next week on Thursday at our normal time on a homies channel, SlomoBackSlap. And with that being said, so Slomo, why don't you let these people know where they can find you and what's going on with you and your channel over the next week?
You can find me at SlomoBackSlap on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I probably, depending on the time or when I get the chance to, will be streaming the new content for the Division 2 on the public test server for PC that just came out. So there's a new mode. I have no idea what it is, and they have been completely mum on any information until showing allowing people access to it today. So I might stream that tomorrow on my Twitch channel. Otherwise, on the YouTube channel, check out my review for Elden Ring. Um, I, I think I'm pretty proud of it. I put a lot of time into it. Please check it out. As far as new content, expect something probably be by Monday. We'll see what happens. And also, as Forte said, DPS podcast next week, 9 p.m. Back to our regular day as Thursday, Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. On my channel. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Absolutely. What's the views on that channel, that video up to now?
I don't know, 4K, something
So
like
proud
that.
of you, man. That's so good. Did you make that follow-up video like I asked you to? Probably
I
not.
sure did not.
Oh.
I surely did not. Yeah. But look, like
Dang.
I will make something whenever.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dorian Gray says they actually breath of life, and they breathe breath of life into Division 2. Slomo would he would love it if they actually did something with Division 2.
Well, I mean, they are. That's what the stuff that's in the public test service, the new content that they've been working on.
We'll talk about that next week, because I definitely didn't know they were doing that, because I definitely want to jump in. You know, I kind of need to just go ahead and finish the campaign, but I started that game so late behind people.
The campaign?
I never beat the campaign.
Wow.
Oh, you know what? That's another campaign I could beat, Slomo.
You still wouldn't catch up, so go ahead. Go on, fam.
Well, I'm at 2. That would be 3. You're only, what, 4 ahead of me? Well, you're 5 ahead of me right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the year almost, so.
Okay.
Oh, what about you? What about to do after the show? Oh, what am I about to do after the show? Whatever you want to do, Taz. You know, always down for the fire team. We can get Luca involved, it'd be even better. Shout out to you guys, man. Really appreciate you. Taz, hit me up on Xbox Live or wherever. Luca, same thing if you're jumping on. Slow-mo, I appreciate you. And everybody know where they can find me, because you're already here. Check me out on Twitter. Also, check me out on Xbox Live and PlayStation at the same gamer tag, Gaming Forte. And we will see you guys next week for another episode. Peace.